It's been an interesting year in 2017, and now that we look back and recap on the dairy industry, we'll see that 2017 was a banner year for milk production. We were up almost 9%, so that we produced 12 billion pounds of milk in the state of Texas last year, which is about a $2 billion industry. That industry's undergone a lot of changes over time. In the 1980s and before, East Texas was our major dairy area. And then during the 80s and into early 90s, we moved into more central Texas, down around Stephenville. And since 2000, we've seen a vast increase in our milk production in the Panhandle. If we look at 1990, less than 1% of our milk was produced in the Panhandle, while last year about 68% of our milk was produced there. It's true that we increased from 3.5 billion pounds of milk in 1980 up to the 12 billion last year. So some areas haven't really decreased much in milk production. It's just that our overall expansion has gone to the Panhandle. That expansion has been driven by a lot of things. First, our dairymen wanted to look at quality of life for them and for their cows. Dairy has always been a 365-day-a-year, twice-a-day industry. So dairymen didn't have much time to spend with their families, and they're like everybody else. They want that time, so they got bigger so that they could hire some help. But they're still family farms. They're looking at bringing in the next generation, and they couldn't do that on a small 60 or 80 cow dairy. So they expanded, and they hired some labor, but it's still family owned and run. The other thing is that the East Texas area has 50 inches of rainfall a year, and the Panhandle has 20. We find that cows in the summer really suffer when it's hot and humid, so dairymen were looking for a way to get into a better environment for the cows. And so first they moved to the Stephenville area, which had only 35 inches of rainfall, but they also found that there was still a lot of rainfall at specific times, and then they moved on out to the Panhandle where there's just 20 inches of rainfall a year. So the cows need the least amount of energy to keep themselves warm during the winter or cool during the summer. And it's just a better environment for cows to be in. The dairymen also find that it's easier to protect the environment. If you've got 50 inches of rainfall and you get 12 inches in one night, that's a lot of water to capture off an area and dispose of properly and use for irrigation. In the Panhandle, they rarely get large rainfalls, and when they do, they can capture it and use it in their irrigation systems to grow their crops. Also, when you get out in West Texas, we can raise very high-quality forages. East Texas can grow a lot of grass, but at some times of the year, particularly in the summer when it's extremely hot and dry, you don't get the quality of forages. So we've gotten to where we are raising our forages and bringing those forages to the cows so that they don't have to expend a lot of energy going out and searching for grass during specific times of the year. Taking care of our cows and taking care of our people is a primary impetus for our dairy farm families of today. They're looking at making sure that they produce a bountiful supply of milk for consumers that is of the highest quality and meets the needs of all consumers today.